Hello, Laura. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. If you could please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Laura. I'm from Ormskirk Ways. So I was at Ormskirk Hospital, which is where I had my little girl, Mabel.
Oh, cute
Yeah,
name.
yeah. Oh, thank you. So yeah, it's been kind of a bit of a journey for us, really, with having a baby. Because I've got endometriosis.
Right.
So we was trying for like a bit of time, and it started to feel a little bit like, oh, this is never going to happen. So once we got
Yeah.
pregnant, it was just like, the most amazing thing ever. So we still can't
Wow.
believe that she's even here, to be fair. It
Oh,
just all feels surreal, really.
yeah. God, did your endometriosis cause any issues throughout your pregnancy or anything?
So technically not, but so something that I find strange is I knew someone else who had endometriosis who was pregnant at the same time as me, and we both had something called an ectropion during our
Hmm.
pregnancy, which causes like it's like I don't really know what it is, but it's some form of cells either on your cervix or your uterus or something where they turn outwards, so it causes
Yeah.
bleeding during your pregnancy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when I looked into it, apparently people with endometriosis are more likely to have it because you've already got
Oh,
those abnormal cells like around that area. So, I mean, technically it didn't, but then also I think,
yeah.
eventually it could have done. I still did have some certain pain that I was having as well. But again, they were very much not
Mm.
thinking it was. It's like, well, you're not menstruating, so it won't be,
Mm.
but it's not very well researched, really, is it? So
It is not, no. Isn't there, what's that stat that oh, I can't remember it now. Something is researched more than endometriosis. I can't remember what it is. Something really minuscule that men do.
yeah, no, I know. In fact, I know what
You've
you mean,
seen
but I
it.
can't
Yeah,
think.
I can't
Yeah.
think what it is. And
Yeah, and it's so
it's
frustrating because you just think, I'm all for equality, but it does frustrate me to think if it was a man who was going through endometriosis,
mm.
it was a
Oh
male
yeah.
disease, then yeah, it would be
They'd have it all like
a
sorted, wouldn't they? They'd know
yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
100%.
Very
So yeah,
frustrating.
I did have bleeding in my pregnancy, which was quite scary to be fair, because
Yeah.
obviously I didn't know it was normal to bleed in pregnancy. And when I
No.
got my first bleed, it was obviously you just think the worst, don't you? And I think I was
Yeah.
about 15 weeks, I
Oh
think, or
wow, were
16.
you?
Yeah, so it was quite early, and it carried on until I was about 27, 28
Oh
weeks pregnant.
wow.
Yeah. So that was another thing that kind of I ended up under the microscope quite a bit, because
Mm.
they were obviously like wanting to check baby's growth and check that
Yeah.
they were okay. And obviously
Yeah.
there's a medical reason for it, and that was nice. But I also started getting a little bit suffocated because I'd done hypnobirthing and I
Yeah.
wanted it to just go all as like, well, I ended up in a
Yes.
C-section, but we'll talk about
Right,
that.
yeah.
But I wanted it to go all as naturally as possible. And I think I just felt a little bit under the microscope a little bit because of
Yeah.
that. But honestly, it ended up being really nice because we had more scans and things, so we got to see her more. I
Yeah.
mean, as she gets bigger, you can hardly see her on that screen.
Yeah.
But
It's always, yeah, it's good to like focus on I suppose, the benefit side of it being maybe a little bit more,
yeah,
yeah, under the microscope is that, yeah, you get to maybe see baby more and connect in a kind of different way to baby when
yeah.
you're seeing them a little bit more.
And that's what we started
Go-
saying, that like we just wanted to turn it into a positive instead, be like, oh,
yeah.
we've got to see that they've got hair and that she's got long locks
Yeah.
and things like that. So yeah,
And you knew you were having a girl.
no, so we
Oh,
didn't
you
know
didn't.
that. No, no. So that was another thing that was a bit like, oh, because I was having
All
so
these
many scans.
scans.
I was like, please do not tell me the gender of my baby. But they
Yeah.
did, and it ended up being a
Good.
lovely surprise. But I knew I was having a girl, if that makes
So
sense.
much.
I'd
It
said it
does.
from the very beginning. I was like, I
Yeah.
know they're a girl. So yeah, when she came out and was a girl, it weren't a massive shock, but obviously it still was because we didn't
Yeah.
fully know. But yeah.
Yeah. You do sometimes just know, don't you? I felt like that as well. I was like, I know it's a girl, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to, yeah, kind of explain. So you did hypnobirthing.
Yeah.
So what was it that kind of got you interested in hypnobirthing? Did you have people that you knew that had done it, or was it kind of all new?
Yeah, no. So basically, I'd never heard of it until I got pregnant. So I went for my first midwife appointment, so I'll have been about 10 weeks, and
Hmm.
she mentioned hypnobirthing, and straight away the name, everything about it just felt like something I would really enjoy because I'm into like yoga, meditation,
Yeah.
spirituality in general, like positive vibes, things like that. So it just sounded like really up my street. And obviously when I looked into it, there was a lot more to hypnobirthing than, being in a calm state and,
Yes.
all this stuff. And I think for me, the biggest thing that I loved about hypnobirthing was the encouragement to educate yourself around birth because I would not have had a Scooby-Doo about most of the stuff. Like there's so much terminology, so much things that you just would never know about, like if you'd never
No.
looked into it. And I think some people go into it where it's like, oh well, what I don't know won't harm me, or I'll just go with the flow. And I do understand that, but then also when you're confronted with professionals, you get white coat syndrome, and you're like,
Yes.
you just feel like you have to give in, don't you, to what they're saying. And that for me, as I'll explain as I go through my birth, was like the biggest positive for me with hypnobirthing was how empowered I felt in my decisions because I knew what, from research and
Hmm.
education and things like what things were. So yeah, it was really
Mm.
positive for me. And especially this podcast. Like I listen to this podcast
Oh,
even enough every day,
oh,
like
bless
all the
you.
time. Yeah, going to the
Uh,
gym and things like that.
yeah.
It was great. I loved it. And I loved hearing like realistic stories of other mums
Yeah.
and things and how empowered they felt. Thought it was
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
I think that's it as well, isn't it? You're a good example of how actually and I say this so much, I think sometimes it's kind of hard for people to grasp that actually it's not necessarily what happens during your birth that makes it positive or negative. So,
Yeah.
the fact that obviously your birth ended up in a cesarean, and we'll obviously talk about it
Yeah.
and find out why and what happened. But you might think, oh gosh, like it ended up like this, and that
Yeah.
must have felt really negative. And it isn't to do with what happened, it's to do with how you felt. And obviously you felt
Yeah.
so empowered and informed, and all the
Yeah.
decisions that you made were the ones that were right for you. So really you've done everything that you can do. And so it's positive for you because you've
Yeah.
been in control of all of those decisions and you've educated yourself. And so it's not about just necessarily how the birth looks. And you can equally on the other side have what you might view as being a really like lovely positive birth, and actually
Mhm.
it might not have been experienced in that way by that
Yeah.
person for whatever reason. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of it's a good example of how actually, as long as you have all the tools and you can feel in control, that's a massive tick in the kind of positive experience box, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's it. Like I'm like a major control freak in my life. Like it's, I am type A and that's just the way I
Yeah,
am.
I'm like
So
that.
I think as much as obviously it did not, it go necessarily to plan. I mean,
Yeah,
it technically did because I did put it
yeah,
in my birth plan. Um,
yes, that's
but
true.
my first option was a water birth, so it
Yeah,
couldn't have gone any further. But my
yeah,
my third one was a C-section, so it technically was in my plan. Uh,
yes, yeah,
yeah, but I think for me, just feeling like I did have an aspect of control because I knew some things just made me feel so much better. And just knowing that, like, if things take a different turn, then I know my options and I know
yeah,
what to expect, kind of thing. I think for me, I think until you actually go through giving birth, you don't realize how daunting it actually can be, like what your body's just
no,
about to go through. So I think for me, I just felt it was so much better knowing a lot as much as I could really
yeah,
about it, and then I felt a lot more, like you said, empowered to make those decisions
mm,
coming up to things. But it's interesting with you saying about how it can be viewed negatively because that's something that I have found when I tell people, "Oh yeah, I had a
all right,
C-section."
yeah,
It's very much, "Oh, oh, 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 you okay?" And it's like, "I'm fine."
yeah,
It's like, God, yeah, the
yeah.
recovery is a
Oh,
different
that's yeah,
story.
that must feel really annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
That must
then
be a
the
bit annoying
birth,
for you. Like, no, no, it was good.
Yeah, exactly. Like the birth was lovely. Every time I get that kind of reaction, I'm kind of like, no, it was lovely. Like I wouldn't change it for the world. It was perfect. But yeah, you can tell there's a lot of stigma around it, I guess, that it's quite that it ends up being like
Mm.
an emergency and you've got no choice kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So tell us how it all happened, how your birth went, how it ended up in a cesarean, and kind of the choices that you made along the way.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, like I said, I had a little bit of bleeding during my
Yeah.
pregnancy. So I was already a little bit under the microscope, and then Mabel's growth had jumped.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it was one of those where like they ended up suspecting I had diabetes, and things like this. And I wasn't worried because even though her growth had jumped, it like for me, it was like I'd learned again so much around how reliable is that really that her growth had jumped. It was through an ultrasound, and I seen that it when they're actually working out the weight, sometimes it can be like a pound or two off anyway.
Yeah, it
So
can.
I was just a little bit like, but anyway, my diabetes test came back clear, so that was fine. Um, and that was quite late on, in my pregnancy. I think I was probably about 34 or 35 weeks pregnant when that happened. Um,
Hmm.
so I'd hit my due date. So I was 40 weeks and 3 days. And it was I started getting a little bit of cramping in the day, but it was like, because like I've got endometriosis. So, it didn't
Yes,
really feel
yeah.
like anything at
Yeah.
all. I didn't really think much of it. And then anyway, my waters broke at 1 a.m. And it
Oh
was
wow.
literally like something off a film. I thought that your waters just after listening to the podcast.
Yeah, they do usually.
Oh my God, no. It was just absolutely everywhere, all over my bathroom floor. So I just thought to myself, this is it, God, she's coming. Like, this is a
Wow.
lot, a lot. And it was weird as well because I'd had my mucus plug a couple of days before,
Hmm.
but my waters that broke was quite mucusy. So
Oh,
they were.
okay.
They were a little bit, when I went into hospital, they were a bit like, I don't know if it might just be mucus plug. And I was like, I mean, if it's mucus plug, then wow, I did not know you could have that much because it was covered my bathroom floor. And anyway, it turned out it was my waters that had broke. But when I went into hospital, I ended up again I got diagnosed with gestational hypertension. Is that what
Oh,
it's called?
okay, yeah.
High blood
Yeah.
pressure.
Mm.
And they tested it a good 15, 20 times, and it was really high, my blood pressure. So they were a little bit worried about that. So obviously they advised on an immediate induction. I just said, look, I feel like, oh, and I'd literally just a few hours before my waters broke, I'd had a really awful migraine. So
Oh, had you?
yeah, it was
Mm.
really bad. So I was saying to them, I've had a migraine, my waters have broke, I've come into hospital, and probably am going to have a bit of high blood pressure. I probably am a
Yeah.
little bit, oh God, this is happening, and I've not been well, and my body's going through all this stuff. So let's
Yeah.
just not panic. Like, let's just give me the 24 hours, see if I go into
Yes.
labor, and then we'll take it from there. And they were
Oh,
happy.
well done.
Yeah, yeah, and they were happy with that, and they said, yeah, they think that's a you know, what's the word? A positive, constructive decision,
Yeah.
and they were happy and said, basically because my waters had broken, that if I need an induction, if the next day,
Hmm.
it'll only be oxytocin that I'll need,
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
the full induction. So I kind of felt a little bit better because I'd feared induction a little bit because
Hmm.
obviously for me with a birth plan, the one thing I didn't want to be strict on what I wanted, but I wanted to make sure I was quite did make a big note of what I really didn't want. And for
Yes.
me, it was instruments. They just went through me. I really didn't want them. And it's, everyone's different, aren't they? And that
Yeah.
was the thing for me. And I
Yeah.
knew the likelihood of having induction would then lead to
Mm.
probably having instruments, not all the time, but sometimes. So I think
Yeah.
that for me was the one thing I was a bit like, oh, I'd rather not have an induction. But
Yeah.
that made me feel a bit better because I looked
Good.
into it and it sounded like, well, it will probably help you just that last little push that you might need.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went home. I was really relaxed. Me and my husband played Monopoly. Yeah, we watched loads of kid films, like
Uh,
Madagascar and Shrek, and
I love it.
yeah, we had a really nice chilled day, because he took the day off work and it was lovely, but there was just no progression at all. Like I
No,
felt like the cramps hadn't changed; they were still the same. Um, and yeah, it just kind of didn't really feel like anything was really moving along. And I'd had these hypnobirthing meditations that I was listening to all throughout my pregnancy. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's called Hypnobirthing with Anya.
oh, I
Um,
have, yeah. She
yeah,
does the they're on YouTube, aren't they?
yeah. Oh, they
Yeah.
were amazing. Yeah.
I've played
So,
those. I've been at births where I've put them on in the background on the TV,
mm, that's
They're
literally
really
what I
nice.
was. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
downloaded them all
Yeah.
to do that. So I had them all set up for like early labor, mid
Mhm.
labor, when I was at the point of pushing, I had all of them set
Nice.
up. But then I also did prepare and had them for C-sections and induction as well, just in case I
Brilliant.
did them.
Yeah.
So I was listening to her meditations and things, and I felt relaxed. But yeah, it just wasn't really moving along. So anyway, it got to 24 hours, so I had to go back to hospital. And they basically did like a check on me. But at this point, it was about 30 hours after my waters had broken. So obviously, in my head, I'm thinking, I can't really feel like anything's going on. It's been 30 hours
Yeah.
and it's that worry about the infection then, isn't
Yeah.
it? And obviously because I'd had high blood pressure as well, there was just a couple of things and that wasn't going either when I'd come back in.
Oh, really? You still had
Yeah,
it?
I still had high blood pressure.
Okay.
So she checked me, and I was thinking, with how much my waters had broken and I had a bit of cramp, I was thinking, oh, surely I'll be at least 2 centimeters, three. No, I wasn't even a centimeter.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I weren't even a centimeter dilated, and my cervix was still long and thick and right at the back.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, so they were literally just like, yeah, you're gonna have to have an induction. Like,
Mm.
it's not progressing. And at this point, then I just kind of was like, oh no, yeah, what's the point? Because I'm 30
Yeah.
hours now. So
Yeah.
if I go into an and also I found out it was actually only my backwaters that had
Oh,
broken.
okay. Yeah.
So then I needed to then have the full induction. So I knew
Oh,
how lengthy of a process that was going to be. And I was just like, do you know what? I just don't feel like that's the right thing for me and my
no.
baby. I can't.
No.
And Warren even looked at me because he knew he'd come to all the classes and he was really
Yeah.
informed himself, my husband. And he just looked at me when they said that. And it's like we both gave each other this look as, no, that's
It's not
not.
for you.
Yeah, that's not the right thing. And then I just basically, I did get a little bit upset because I felt a little bit disheartened in that moment. But then I brought myself back up and I just thought, "Do you know what? My baby is telling me that this is the right thing and she wants to come out
Yeah.
this way." And yeah, so I just basically said, is C-section an option? Because that's in
Yeah.
my plan and that's just what I would feel more comfortable with. And it was funny because the minute I'd said that to the midwife and the doctor, it was like they just went like this.
Oh, really? That's what
Yeah,
they wanted.
yeah, everyone just felt relief. It was like the whole room just kind of just went,
Yeah.
okay. And yeah,
Yeah.
from there, obviously they spoke through the risks and the benefits of a C-section, and all that stuff. But yeah, I just immediately felt myself just go like, oh, thank God,
Mm.
this is the right thing and this is on
Yeah.
the right path now. And
That
it
means
just,
it's the right thing, doesn't it? If you feel that like
yeah,
relief when you make a decision on it, it
yeah.
must be the right thing, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, and that was it. I think for me it just felt like because I knew about Bishop scores and
Yeah.
the likelihood that an induction was even going to work and it was very very low and I was like I probably will end up in an emergency C-section anyway.
Mm.
I mean, it's not definite and it very well could have worked, but I just didn't really want to put my whole body through that induction
Yeah.
to then end up in a potentially a C-section anyway. And then it
Mm.
could have been a lot more of a rush, a bit more of a
Yeah.
emergency.
And you could
I,
have been in that induction for days. You could be
exactly.
completely sleep deprived, and then you
Oh,
have all of that and then a cesarean on top, like that is worth
Yeah.
considering.
Exactly. And my cousin actually went through an induction and a
Mm,
C-section, and I know how hard that was for her.
yeah.
And I just feel like in that moment, I just thought, yeah, there is that what if I could give birth
Mm,
naturally, that's great. But then I thought, well, it's not the be end and end all if I don't.
no.
And I feel like I will have such a more positive experience without risking that type of
Yeah.
thing. So I was still a category 3, I was still a priority.
Yes, they still do class it as an emergency.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was so gentle, like the way
Mm.
that they'd gone about it. So I think at this point it was about 3 a.m. in the morning that we decided. Oh no, it
Oh,
was
wow.
about 4 in the morning. So I hadn't really slept either
No,
all the
wow.
time. So then we ended up deciding then, and it was at 10 a.m. I was booked in for the induction, and she was born at 10:38. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Not induction, sorry. Oh, 10 a.m. I was
Cesarean.
booked in for the C-section. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, it all went really well from there. And it was funny because, like I said to you before, I had the hypnobirthing
Mm.
meditation for the C-section.
Yes.
And literally the minute I put that on, my blood pressure was like over well, just under 100. It was between like 90 and just over 100, so it was high.
Yeah.
The minute I put that on for hypnobirthing C-section, it went to 66.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like my body just knew then. Like, I obviously
Yeah.
was just a little bit tense about the situation. And then once I was
Yes.
having a C-section, it was like, ah, okay, she's coming,
Yeah.
everything's gonna be fine. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was perfect.
And
And
was she,
then
what was her weight? Was she big?
8'2".
Oh, that's not big. Well,
No.
that's like totally average, isn't it?
Yeah, but then when I say that to people, everyone's like, "Oh my God, she was a big baby." Because I
Oh
think
no.
I
It
know.
used to, I think I feel like it used to be that like £8
Mm,
something was considered to be bigger, but now people
yeah.
have the amount of babies where I've been at the births where they have been like high nines,
Ah,
like
really?
£9.10, £9.12. I've been at a £10 baby birth. So
Yeah.
£8, like just £8, just over £8 to me now just seems like really
Yeah, just
average and quite
normal.
small
Yeah, yeah,
because you
yeah,
do seem to get like bigger babies for some reason. I don't know these days.
yeah.
Um, so
And to
yeah,
be fair, she
that's
felt small when she was born.
oh
Like
God,
it's
and they always seem small. Even the
yeah.
£10 baby looks tiny.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Isn't that weird? Because once they get
Yeah.
£10, they feel so
Yeah.
much bigger, don't
I
they? But
know.
once she was £10, because Warren was £10 when he was born, so
Oh,
I was
really?
fully expecting. Once he said there'd been this jump in growth, I was thinking,
Oh
I'm
no.
a £10 baby, but obviously she wasn't. But once she'd hit £10, we was saying like she feels huge. Like how could I have given
Yeah.
birth to this baby if she was £10?
They do, but they honestly like even the £10 ones, I swear, like when they're first born, they still because I suppose like newborns just are they're just small, like they're just
Yeah,
so fresh,
yeah,
aren't they? That they
yeah.
still seem so small to me. But yeah, I suppose like yeah, when you've compared them to £8 something, they probably do seem quite a
Yeah,
bit bigger, don't they?
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Uh,
So yeah, it was literally so amazing, and I feel like when I look back, I just think how grateful I really am, and how blessed I was to have such an
mm,
amazing team because it could have been so different, like
yeah.
depending on who did the C-section and who the
Yes.
midwives were. And something that was really amazing was basically my very first appointment with the midwife who told me about hypnobirthing. She ended up not being my midwife after that because she went to the delivery suite. So
Uh,
she ended up being my delivery midwife,
uh,
and
that's
she was
nice.
so lovely. So seeing her just made me, because I'd came across her as well when I was in
Yeah.
triage, because I'd had to go in for bleeding. So when I seen her, it again just felt like such a big relief that she
Yeah.
was my delivering midwife. And then the whole team, like the surgeon, the main lady, she was fab, and she was really informed about hypnobirthing as well. So she really
Great.
wanted me to have this gentle C-section.
That's so
Um,
good.
yeah, yeah. So she was fab with that. The only thing that they said they couldn't do, was Warren couldn't cut the actual cord, so
Hmm.
he ended up just trimming it. So they kept
Yeah.
it on for him so he could
Oh, well,
trim.
that's
Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
yeah. And they just basically said with the immediate skin to skin, at first they just needed to lift her away. all kind of
Yeah.
feels a bit of a haze. I'm not sure how long it was, but she
Yeah.
did come to me really quickly. And that was amazing because she was crying, and then the minute she just came
Oh,
to my face, she just stops. It's like I obviously
oh
had
my
seen
gosh.
videos of that, but when it happens to you, you feel like the most amazing person on the planet, don't
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
Honestly, I was like, how has my face just stopped my baby from crying?
Oh
Like
my
she just
God, that's so special.
yeah. So obviously we went into the C-section and bless my husband, like he was really emotional. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was really crying and stuff, but I think
Oh,
it was a mixture for him of I think just being so proud of me, say it's like making that
yeah.
decision, seeing me in quite a vulnerable state because seeing me getting
Yeah.
injected in my back, it's probably a bit
It's not nice. Yeah.
no. And then obviously the fact we was welcoming our baby in the world, I think it was just a lot for him, but he
Oh,
absolutely loved it. And we got to play our birthing playlist, which
nice.
was really good. Um, and they'd done the gentle lift, so it was like kind of like the wave. What I
Yeah.
can't remember how it's described now. It's quite a while from when they'd said it, but there's a way of the way they lifted up them up, isn't there? So it's a bit more
What
gentle.
from the incision, like when they pull them out, like they
Yeah,
walk them out.
yeah,
Is
kind
that what
of.
you're thinking of? Yeah.
Yeah,
But they
yeah,
kind of let them. They sort of let them wiggle their way out.
yeah. I think so. She said it was like
Yeah.
like she'll do a gentle lift for me.
Yeah.
So and then once she'd came out, because we didn't know if he was having a boy or a
Oh
girl.
yeah.
So they lowered the screen for us and lifted her up. So my delivery midwife lifted her, and obviously then we were just both like gone because we knew she was a
Oh,
girl and we could see her. And that was just absolutely amazing. Like that,
so sweet.
I still can't get over that feeling. You'll just never be able to compare that feeling to anything ever when we
No.
seen her lift and heard her cry and. Yeah, it was just
Oh,
absolutely amazing. And we had our wedding song on as well when she was
oh, that's
out.
nice.
Yeah, so it's 1,000 Years by
Oh
Christine.
yeah, I love
Like
that
it's always
song.
been our song. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
something now that we always associate with her too.
Oh, that's
So
so sweet.
yeah, yeah, it was just fab. And then she got lifted out. And yeah, the only thing that kind of happened to me during that is I ended up with a little bit of shaking and a bit of nausea.
Hmm.
But it
That's
went
totally normal. Yeah.
yeah, and it went so quick. Like they give me a little bit of anti-sickness and then I was
Mm.
back fine. So she ended up like on me for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like so then she was took away, Warren trimmed the cord. And also whilst I was actually cut open, if you will, it's not a nice terminology,
Yeah.
but once I was cut open, she actually had a look around for me,
Oh
for
yes.
endometriosis.
Oh
And
wow.
she found it on my womb. So it's as much as it's not great knowing that it's there, it's
Yeah.
positive as well because I can take that now to the endometriosis team I'm under and say
Amazing.
like, it could just cut a few corners for me.
Yes.
I've got my review in July, so hopefully then, they'll know a little bit more and things like
Yeah.
that. But she was just fab. Like she just was so informed and actually wanted it to be like a great experience for us both.
Mm.
And even the fact she looked at that, that's just like she's
That's
happy
amazing.
with
It's
that.
above
Yeah,
and beyond. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Um, so yeah, once the one weirdest thing I do remember is when I got lifted from the table to the recovery bed. Or that
Oh
is
no.
such a strange feeling. You feel like you're a floating head, like
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Because you
that
can't feel.
dog. Yeah, the Churchill dog that just does this.
Yes.
That's kind of how I felt that I had no body. And it was just like my head just floating and I was being lifted up. And what I find bizarre is that you're just absolutely naked, completely naked
Yes.
and so exposed. Yeah, I just laughed it off and I was just saying
Yeah.
to them, "Oh God, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And they were all like, "Stop apologizing, like it's fine." But yeah, that was a weird experience. But again, I feel like my memory of it is I was just smiling away, laughing away, having a great time, even though I
Yeah.
was under the knife or whatever it is. It didn't
Yeah.
feel like that at all. It was really positive and lovely. And I think, like you said, I think because of my mindset and the way my headspace was, like I managed to make something that could be seen negative as such a positive. And I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, you're getting your baby. Like
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
biggest positive out of it all, isn't it? Like as
Yeah.
long as they're okay, then
Yeah.
that's all I ultimately was bothered about at the end of the
Yeah.
day. I wanted her to be fine. Um,
Yeah.
and it was amazing as well. Like once I'd gone onto the recovery bed and gone into the recovery room, I've never experienced a good cup of tea and toast like
Oh,
that.
it's the best.
Yeah, it
It's
was
the
so
best.
good because you
But
know
it's
by
like
mouth, aren't you, for a little
it's
bit?
the
And it's
well,
like,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
yeah,
But it's the worst bread. It's just the cheapest,
yeah,
thinnest piece of bread that you'll ever have ever. But it for some
yeah.
reason just tastes like the best thing you've ever eaten.
Yeah, and you know what's weird as well? All throughout my pregnancy, I couldn't have hot drinks. So I used to love a cup of tea, and then like I normally drink decaf anyway. I love a decaf coffee and a hot chocolate and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't like,
You
oh yeah,
couldn't,
no, and
really?
no, like now I've got like an iced coffee, but I
Yeah.
can't drink hot coffee again. I've gone back to cups of tea, which aren't really the same because I've had to cut dairy out because my baby's CMPA.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So the cups of tea I'm getting used to with oat milk. Everything else,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah,
it was
tea
weird.
tastes different with oat milk. I like an
It
oat milk
was,
coffee, but
yeah,
tea, for some
same.
reason, it does taste different with oat milk. But it's fine, but it does take, yeah,
Yeah,
getting used to, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I feel like it's made me realize I actually don't like the taste of milk, though, to be fair.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah, so I actually do prefer oat milk, but yeah, a cup of tea with normal milk, you just can't beat it, really.
No,
But
you
it was funny
can't.
because she was like, "Do you want a cup of tea?" And I just went, "Oh my God, yes." I was like, I'd not had
Nice.
one for about 7 months.
Oh my God.
When I had that cup of tea, it was like Warren said, that is the weirdest thing ever. How can your body just turn
I
off? Like,
know,
it's
that's
like you want
crazy.
a cup of tea, and I was like, I don't know. It was the weirdest thing ever.
Isn't that
And
mad?
yeah. And obviously as well, like I'm breastfeeding.
Yeah.
So the obviously, you're still quite numb after, well, you're very numb after
Yeah.
C-section. So my delivery midwife helped me with the latch and so that I could
Good.
feed Mabel and that was fab. That was again just felt like such an empowering thing. Like I'd gone through this surgery and then I was sat being able to feed my baby. I just find the women's body just absolutely
Yeah.
bizarre how we're capable of these things.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's
So yeah,
amazing.
that was amazing. Oh, and as well, I asked her to keep my placenta because I really wanted to
Yeah.
see it. And I'll have to send you a picture of it if you ever wanted to
Yes.
see it. But she did it for me where she put it in a
Oh,
heart for
yes. Yeah,
me.
I've seen that
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was really nice.
That's so nice.
It's huge, isn't it? Your placenta.
Yes.
I thought it would be like about this big, like a
No,
tiny.
they're huge.
It was like this big. I was like,
Yes. They're like dinner
oh,
plate, a dinner plate.
yeah, it's like how on earth is that being inside of me? It's bizarre.
And when that comes out, that's the size of the wound that you have in you because that's where it's cut. Like it's that whole placenta, which is about the size of a dinner plate, is obviously
Oh,
attached to you inside. So when that comes out, that all that bleeding and then like obviously healing from that is like a dinner plate size wound,
that's
basically,
actually crazy. I didn't think of it like
inside
that.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
It's
And
mad.
I found it so amazing to see it, knowing that's what was feeding Mabel.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I just
crazy.
thought, wow, like that is amazing. And I think it's crazy how like that's just now out of me, but I grew
Mm.
that whole
Mm.
organ.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
It's the
just been,
only temporary organ that we have. Like, there's no
yeah,
other organ
yeah,
and it's your baby's organ. So it
yeah.
belongs to her,
I
technically.
know, yeah, yeah,
And yeah, the placenta is just absolutely mind blowing that it
yeah,
does
it is.
all of that. It does so much for your
Yeah,
baby throughout your pregnancy. Like, it's just
yeah.
crazy.
I know. And I think as well, like I was even thinking like how amazing we are, but how amazing babies are too. Like
Yes,
how
so
they
clever. I
yeah,
know.
like look, when she came out and fed, I was looking at her and just thinking, I'm so proud of you. Like how
Yeah.
you're just this little baby's only been here for a few minutes and you know how to
Yeah.
eat. It's like
Oh.
and do you know what? She amazes me every single day. Like she's just growing up so quick. So she turned 3 months yesterday.
Oh, she's Diddy.
Yeah, so she's still a little baby, but she just seems since she's been born, she's been so aware like of her surroundings and
Oh.
And she's just like always smiling, always chatting away, and yeah, she's doing really well. Like obviously she's been confirmed dairy intolerant. And
Yeah.
she's had, oh yeah, so this was something that was quite interesting, is that she's had a tongue tie, so she's had that
Oh
cut,
yeah.
and it's really helped with her feeding. But something that they found when they were inspecting her is that she's had tension on her left side,
Mm,
and what they think it could be is that it's got worse with the tongue tie because she's been so tense and it's
hmm.
took so much for her to feed. But they think that her head might have been tilted in my pelvis.
Oh right, yeah.
And they think that could be a
Oh,
reason why
that's
I didn't
why.
go naturally. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's weird because she was literally in my pelvis from about 29 weeks. Like it was,
Mm.
oh my God, it was awful. For me, birth amazing. Postpartum has been fine. Pregnancy, yeah,
Hard.
I found it tough. Yeah, especially the first trimester, I was so
Yeah.
ill. But then last few weeks when she was in my pelvis, like I felt like I just had to lift myself constantly when I was walking because
Yes.
it was just so uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
but yeah, because she was really low, and whenever I had the scans, they were like, yeah, she's in optimal birth position, she's ready to go. And
But sometimes their head can be slightly flexed and you don't realize, and
yeah, and
then
that's what
that
I
can be
think it
why
was.
your labor
Yeah,
doesn't start
that
properly.
must
Yeah.
have been why, because like she was literally just ready to go. But it
Mm.
makes sense now because her head, when she came out on the picture, her head's like this, and then on all the pictures that we've took of her when she was in like a little cot in the hospital, her head's turning the way where
Right.
away from where the tension is. So
Yeah.
I do think it's probably been from being in my
Have
pelvis.
you looked at cranial osteopathy for her?
So yeah, so she's got an
Yeah.
appointment next
Oh,
week.
good. That'll
Um,
help.
yeah, yeah. So he definitely does cover the cranial part of it. He's a pediatric osteopath. So
Mm,
yeah, I'm
good.
hoping that it should help her. Yeah, I'm hoping
It
it.
will. That's, do you know what? It's benefit. It's so gentle. It sounds really scary, but it's really gentle with newborns,
Yeah,
obviously. But it can help every baby basically, and also particularly so with a cesarean, and also with like a forceps delivery or like an assisted delivery.
yeah, yeah,
When babies come out of the vaginal canal like without assistance, so if you have a
yeah.
vaginal birth without forceps, it that pressure that they go through the vaginal canal helps correct that. So if she had been at a
Yeah,
funny position,
yeah,
if she had managed to obviously get her head to a position where your contractions would start, probably where she would come out and the pressure from the canal would maybe help correct it a little bit. But when you
oh,
have babies, cesarean babies, and obviously
yeah.
assisted delivery babies, they can have that tension because they've not had that pressure put on them to
Okay.
relieve it. So create like cranial osteopathy is so good for babies that are C-section or assisted delivery, or
Oh,
babies that are having trouble like feeding or who are fussy at night. Like it can
yeah,
often be
yeah,
tension issues, and it
yeah,
sounds like a scary thing, but it's if you've ever seen it, it's the most gentle thing they do to
yeah.
help just readjust and release the tension. It's crazy, but it will really help. I'm sure it'll be helpful
Yeah.
for her.
Well, I've seen a few mums since, like meeting up with people, and people have said that their
Yeah.
babies had a tongue tie too, and they've had that
Mm,
done, and they've seen a world of difference. So
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to it for her. I mean, I'm not too concerned because she does look the other way, but
Yes.
you
Yeah.
can just tell, bless her, that she's a bit like,
Yeah.
you
It
can
just might
tell
be a
her,
bit uncomfortable. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't
It
want
might
that for
it
her.
might not be severe, but it might just be a little bit uncomfortable. And you never know. Like some of
Yeah,
her, if she is waking at night or like if, a bit fussy at times, it could be, might not be, but it could
yeah,
be related to maybe she's just a bit uncomfortable, which is,
yeah.
we get like that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so worth doing. I always recommend people who have cesareans, I always like would
Oh,
recommend just
amazing.
going to
That's
see
really good
one.
to know because I've had so
Yeah.
many reviews about it. And like I seen my health visitor yesterday and she was a bit and ahhing, but then two other health professionals I've seen were really for it and like get it done.
Yeah.
So good. So
Yeah.
it's so mixed reviews, but yeah,
Yeah. I
I'm
don't think it's
definitely
going to
for
do
it.
any harm. It's just
Exactly.
probably the
Yeah.
people that aren't so sure probably just don't really
Yeah. Yeah.
understand
Like the
it.
benefits of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, I'm going to be there. So if I'm a bit like,
Absolutely.
unsure, I can just like, oh, please don't do that, or
Yes, of
you know.
course, yeah. And he's a pediatric, like he will not absolutely know what he's
Yeah,
doing. Yeah.
like his website, it just all like was perfect, like with everything that was listed. I was like, yeah, Mabel, yeah, yeah. It's just like
Yes.
he ticked every box. So I was like, he knows
Yeah,
what he's talking about. So yeah, really
definitely.
looking forward to a
Oh,
go.
that'd be good.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, hopefully she gets on all right.
yeah,
And yeah, that all goes fine for her. But yeah, no, what a great story. Thank you. I think it's so important to have these stories as well. And I always totally understand why people choose to have an elective cesarean rather than go the induction route. I think
yeah,
induction can sometimes be sold to us in a way where it feels like, yeah, it would just be this quick thing, in and
yeah.
out, have the induction. And actually, if I have a client of mine who's going in for an induction, I tell them to pack 5 days worth of stuff because
Mm,
it can take that long. And I think that's often when you say to people, like, make sure you have 5 days worth of clothes and
yeah,
supplies.
yeah,
I think sometimes that can make them think, oh, I didn't quite realize actually that it might take that long, but it can. It
yeah,
can be a long
exactly.
process. And then sometimes at the end of it, if you've had an induction and actually everything's not, you said your cervix was still like long and towards
Mm,
the back and all of these things. So at induction, probably for you would have taken quite a few days
yeah,
because your body, although your waters had gone, your body just wasn't quite ready yet. So if it's
yeah,
not ready, it's not
exactly.
going to do a lot. So it can take ages.
Yeah,
And then end of day 4, you're exhausted. You're
yeah,
still like 2 centimeters. And so
exactly.
you go for a cesarean anyway. And I
Yeah,
can totally understand why people choose to cut that out. And I also totally understand why people choose to give it a go. I've had
yeah,
clients again that
definitely.
have
Yeah.
been like, I just want to give it a go. I just want to be able to say I've tried, which I totally get as
Yeah,
well.
such a positive induction.
Yes,
Um,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, and listening to your podcast, there's been so many positive
There's been some
inductions.
lovely ones on here. Yeah,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
lovely where it's like so straightforward and textbook and fast. And you're like,
yeah.
well, if someone could guarantee that type of induction, I
Yeah,
would have it.
that's it. And I think the fact there is something out there that can just push your body a bit more so that you can
Mm,
have a vaginal birth, I think is
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I just because I'd looked into it so much and like
Yeah.
I just knew
You
myself.
know.
Yeah, with the way my blood pressure was as well, I just thought it's
Yes.
not going to progress. It's just not going to. And yeah, it just was the right thing for me. And I
Yeah.
think as well, when I went into it, a lot of people, I think, when they've had a C-section, think, oh, well, now my next babies, I can't have a
Mm.
vaginal birth. And it's not true,
No, not at all.
and so, and he actually even said that, the doctor said that to
Yeah.
me. He said, by the way, don't feel like
Good.
believe in all this stuff about you can't have a vaginal birth again because you
Good.
can. He said there's no reason right now for us to be like you couldn't have a
Yeah.
vaginal birth next time.
Yeah.
And as well, finding out that it could have been because of the way Mabel's head was, it makes
Yes.
me feel like I could have a natural birth next
Yeah,
time.
absolutely. There's no
And
reason why you couldn't.
yeah,
It wasn't for any reason that would mean that's how your body's going to act next time or that's how the
yeah,
baby would act next time. It's not anything to do with your body that
yeah,
has been the reason why you've had a cesarean. Do you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
it's you're
Yeah,
absolutely you would be a good candidate. And they do often, like to be fair, they will say to people, yeah, I think next time, you could probably go for a vaginal birth. I have heard them say that, which is great because
yeah,
there is a real misconception that if you have one cesarean, you have to have another one.
yeah.
And I've supported lots of VBACs as well.
Yeah,
And
I
they are
remember
just like normal.
yeah, on
Yeah.
your podcast. Like I
Yeah.
heard one where it was a home water birth after
Yes.
a
Yeah.
C-section. I was like, when I heard
Amazing.
that podcast, I was like, wow, you are amazing.
Yeah. But you know what? The risk of obviously having a vaginal birth after a cesarean is a slight risk to the scar that you have on your uterus. They call it
Yeah,
a rupture, which is just the worst word ever.
yeah, that
Because it makes you think that
word.
like it explodes or something. It doesn't.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's I think the risk of a rupture to anyone, so even somebody who doesn't have a scar on their uterus, they still have a risk of uterine rupture
yeah.
of like 0.5%. And then for you, now you've got a scar on your uterus, it would be 1%. So it only jumps up a tiny amount. But you had a risk last time too. It's just that we don't know that,
No, well, of
we
course,
don't
yeah.
know that.
They don't tell you those
They
things,
don't
do
tell
you?
you.
Uh,
So it's that really the only difference is that you have just a slightly like less than 1% increase
Yeah.
in that risk, but you still have a 99% chance that it wouldn't happen, which
Oh,
is
well, that's good to know. Yeah, that's
and yeah,
really,
and other than that, you treat it as a completely normal. It would be a normal, but like no
yeah.
different from
Like
anybody else.
new pregnancy, isn't it? Yeah, and a
Yeah,
different baby.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And I think obviously like the water birth, that was something I
mm,
would have loved, it sounded amazing, but I genuinely hand on heart would not change my birth for the world. If I could go back
no,
and be like, oh, if you can somehow, have this water,
yeah.
I
You
genuinely would
wouldn't. There
know
you go
that
then.
was the
There
most
you go.
amazing experience. And me and
Yeah.
Warren both say it all the time. It was just perfect.
How lovely.
Yeah, but I obviously will try and go for a natural birth if
Yeah,
we are lucky enough to get pregnant again
yeah,
and have another child. But then also having a C-section then makes me feel like not worried about it not happening. Does that make
exactly.
sense? Because I
It
know
takes the
that it
pressure off
doesn't.
a bit.
Yeah, and I know that
Yeah,
that having a C-section can be amazing and
yeah.
perfect and positive. So, yeah,
And you know, if at any point during that labor you suddenly felt uncomfortable with what was happening, you can just request a cesarean, like, and
yeah,
then it would be the similar experience to what you had before. Like, you know
yeah,
that actually the other option for you is fine
yeah,
and it was
exactly.
fine. So it
Yeah,
actually gives you quite a lot of freedom because you can kind of
yeah,
just have a go. And if you don't
yeah.
feel comfortable at any point, then you can just opt for the other option, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think like going back again to why I found hypnobirthing so good, because I read the KGH hypnobirthing book as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
And the course I'd done was through the hospital. So it was
Yeah.
good. They'd had a course at the hospital. And I felt like the education side of it's just so good. I really,
Mm.
whenever I speak to people who I know are pregnant now, I always emphasize hypnobirthing for that
Yeah.
because I can tell some people are a bit like, oh, I don't know, I don't really need to know that.
Hmm.
But I'm like, no, honestly, you will feel so much more confident going into birth if you
Yeah.
know these things
Yeah.
because once they start like saying these things to you in your room and you're in a vulnerable state, you'll just say okay
Yeah.
because you won't know
Yeah.
what else to do.
Yeah.
And then that can really affect people's birth, can't it? So yeah, I think that really is like such an
Mm.
amazing tool that we've got now, like the hypnobirth, and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I agree. I agree. Everyone should do it. Everyone should do
Yeah,
it. Oh, but
definitely.
thank you. Thank you so much. It's been lovely to speak to you and to hear your story. And
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you for
thank
letting me come
you.
on. I've been dying to talk about my story.
Yeah, you can, it's nice because now you can, you know, always have it quite fresh where you
Yeah.
can listen back to it
I
and
know,
be like, oh
yeah, that's
yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Well, I've been mentioning it to people that I'm doing it, and obviously they all want to listen to it as well. So it'll be
Oh,
nice because I feel like you talk about it to people, but you feel like you're boring people
yes. Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this
So
way, it's
now
like you
people
can
can
pause
listen.
it if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. They can listen at their own whim when they
Yeah,
like. Yeah,
yeah,
no pressure.
exactly.
Oh, thank you so much, Laura. It's been lovely to speak to you.
Yeah, thank you, Claire. Thank
Thank
you.
you.